First of all, the word honky it's just so much fun to say.
I love
it so much. Of all the racial slurs, that is probably like my one where it's just like honky. Yeah, I like that one.
My favorite. Look at this honky motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's like candy. It's like juice in your mouth.
Yeah. Like if you just look at somebody, it's like, hey, your name is Kyle Honkington. Like that sounds like a great name to say.
Kyle Honkington.
Yes.
It sounds like royalty. But it was by mistake. I'm Jed Clampett, and I accidentally found oil. Here's my son, Kyle Clampett. Honkington.
He comes from the Honkington Oil Company. They own yachts.
We only listen to honky talk. Wow. It's like they took the word back.
What, honky?
The white man, yeah. There's honky tonk. That's a style of music.
Well, that and also there's the Honky Tonk Man, who was a great 80s wrestler. Anyway, who basically was an Elvis impersonator. What do you go on? One of the best Intercontinental champions of all time.
That's why I don't get any riled up nonsense.
Yeah, I know.
They already took it
great.
You can't hurt them.
Yeah, you can.
Oh. And we also rule a lot of stuff. So
yeah.
I can't hurt them. Shit.
You can.
Welcome to the All Regerts podcast, a podcast about regrets, with Sam Narani and Omar Gonzalez, with this week's guests, Andre Ricks and Espi Rivadeneira.
I feel like I've always tried to be a pretty good person. But I regret, my first year teaching, I got so mad at this kid that, the principal came in and was like, okay, you need to leave for a minute. And I was like, yeah, that was not cool.
What made you so mad? And
piled
up?
It was, piled up. It was, I just stopped drinking.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still just, not cool because it was my 4-year-old. They were 4. Mm-hmm. And, the class, it was 25 kids, first year teaching. I had a really good partner teacher who just quit because that environment was so stressful, and she was great, but she was like, I can't do this, so she quit. I had a new partner teacher that had no idea what to do and just couldn't, and I was like, I don't know how to, I never worked with kids before, and I was like, okay, well, and this girl, I remember she was such a brat all the time, and I was just like, I cannot. And I remember I was trying to clean up. It was nap time. We were going from lunch to nap time, and she kept standing. She wouldn't sit on the mat, and I was like, you need to sit down. And I had this broom and I just tossed it to my side because I was so mad, and everyone was like, ugh. And then the principal was like, yeah. But I was just so upset. I was like, I cannot deal with this. I was like, well, I need help in there because none of us know what to do.
Right.
And she was like, okay. But yeah. And then ever since then, I was like, I'm never getting that mad again. I was like, if I need to take a break or if I need to just leave class for a few minutes or be I think now what I do is if a kid's pissing me off, I'm like, you need to leave. I'm like, you go. I'm like, I don't even want to deal with you. You need to leave because you're making me really angry, and I'm not going to blow up at you, so get out of my class. That's what I do now. But usually they're pretty, it doesn't get to that point.
But is this kind of a learning? I figure every good teacher has yelled at a kid before, super hard.
I don't know. I just know myself. I have an incredible temper, and I feel like most people don't know that, but if I always feel bad if I lose my temper that. I always regret losing my temper.
Yeah, it's you wanted to stay cool, and then in hindsight you're like, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, because I was like, who cares if they're not sitting down and they're 4, it's not a big deal. But I was just so angry, and I was like, I cannot, and I hate getting like that.
Yeah, ditto. Every time I'm constantly yelling in the car, and I come home going, I'm a shitbag. I need to stop yelling.
I always feel so bad. Yeah, and I still think about that all the time. Every year, too, because I teach kids. I'm always like, God, that was so shitty. And she liked me, that girl. I'm But I was just like, I always think about that because I was like, I was just so mad.
How was the relationship between you and the kid after that moment? Because I imagine you still had to like work with this person.
We already just didn't, me and that kid, we did not like each other. And I had to realize, like, I'm an adult. Because the kid was such a brat. I remember being like, she's so bratty. But then, like, it was her parent. Like, it's always the parents and, like, the family. So I had to be like, I think I started to get better at looking at, like, why is this kid being this way? And I remember there was another kid in my class. When I started teaching, I was like, I hate this kid. I hate him. And he wouldn't even talk to me. Like, I remember the principal being like, I think there's something like wrong with him, because he would just pretend to be a train. And he would
wait, hold on a second. He would just pretend to be a train.
Yeah, he loved trains.
A locomotive, that's what he is.
He was like, choo, 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 choo. And then he would only talk about train. He was obsessed. And I was like, I'm trying to teach you math, dude. Like, focus. Like, he wouldn't.
Did he ever, like, fall down and tell people he got derailed?
He would say stuff. He was always talking in train terms. Like, so then because then, like, I could not. What are you saying?
I love this kid.
Yeah,
well,
so
so at first I was like, I couldn't stand him because then he was late to the class, like, a few weeks. So when you first get a class, they're like chaotic because they don't, especially the babies, because they're like, some of them it's their first time to school, so they're like, I want my mom. And he was always crying about his mom and trains, and he would run. So he would try and run from the class, and I would have to grab him, and I was just like, so mad. And then by the end of the year, though, that was my favorite kid. Like, because then I was like, I have to figure out, because I would just yell at him and he wouldn't care. And I was like,
he's like, what about these trains?
Yeah, and I was just like, and I remember like
trains?
having to, I would talk to him like, I'd be like, okay, you're the train conductor, so you have to be in charge of everyone, or be like, okay, park it, like, park it.
Speaking language.
And then finally, he was so good, and and his mom told me, she was like, he won't listen to anyone but you, because he like,
you speak train now.
Because I speak
train back to him.
And he named a tree after me.
Oh,
Miss
that is so
Esperanza.
adorable.
I miss him now, but I just thought like that first teaching job like broke me down, and then I was like, okay, I can do this. And then I learned so much from that. But I remember just like feeling like the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm losing my mind. Like they drove me crazy. I still think about them.
The weird kid in class. Like I kind of remember a lot of that.
Being the weird kid?
A little bit, but not too much. And stuff like this kind of leads into my regret story. When I finally hit like my third rock bottom, and I'm I've had a few rock bottom moments in which I'm just like, okay, I gotta get my shit together.
You learned nothing from the first two.
No, obviously did not. Okay. But
do those count as rock bottoms though?
Let's put it this way. Every time in which I had to move back in home, I always considered, with my mom and them, I always considered rock bottom. Because I always tell myself, can I really get lower than where I am right now? In terms, like, meaning in a sense where, like, I know I'm not going to be, like, in some alley or something like that, like being a heroin addict or stuff.
That's a rock bottom.
Yeah, but it is.
It's a personal rock bottom.
It's a personal, kind of like a personal barometer. Like, you're just like, okay, I'm 30, like I lost all this cash and my credit's to shit. I gotta go back home to like rebuild myself in a way too. So that's kind of what happened. Yeah. So after this happened, well, the first one was basically kind of like I lost the job in Carlsbad. Job in Carlsbad when I was a journalist. The second one was when one of my friends moved out and left me to fucking pay bills that I couldn't afford. So I had to move back home. And then the third one was I was going into business with some guy over like some fields in Mexico, and he just straight up took my cash and left.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, that sucks. I'm sorry.
Nah, it happens. But that's fine. But then, like I said, once I'm back home and I'm going back into college, and it just feels like, fuck, I'm 30. I'm going for an accounting degree. It just feels weird and stuff. So like I'm trying to like make friends with like these 20-year-olds, all this stuff. And then my very first class I met this girl. She was older too. She was like 27 at the time, and everything. And we hit it off like super good. Not in a sense of like, you know how like sometimes when you talk to somebody and like you just instantly connect?
Yeah.
Me and this person had that type of flow.
Yeah.
And we were just going, and we were going to be like, oh, she's going to be like my friend for life. We're just going to hang out, do everything, because we always did. We always did like classes together. We always took like, we all hung out at her place all the time.
Sounds like you were interested.
Nah.
A little bit.
At first I was. That's the thing. Like at first I was. Then I find out that like, well, yes. And no, but here's what happens. That relationship over time started to change. Like, you know, like sometimes you hang out with people and you're talking like interpersonally about your lives. You're talking about philosophies and everything. It started to become like more like a working type of relationship in a way too. Like the only, like there are times where I'll text her asking me want to hang out. She'd be like, no, but like every time that we have a project, she wants me on board because I know because I study and I know what I'm doing.
I should start pushing you away a little bit.
A little bit.
Trying to keep it as professional.
Well, keeping it is either as professional. You, instead of like being like my friend, I was her friend. I was more like her asset. And that was the part that started to bother me a lot. Do you ever get texts from people where it's like, hey, how are you doing? And like, you know, for a fact, I'm
they want something from you. That's why they're hitting you up.
Exactly. It's like, we don't talk normally. We don't hang.
That makes me so mad. Yeah.
And it's like, it was like that. It was like that for like years, even up to graduation.
Why did you let her do that for years?
Because every once in a while she would be real.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's kind of like, I always looked forward to that. Because it was just like, because it's just like one of those things where just like.
People like train each other to respond that way, you know?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to be kind of shitty to you. Here's a little bit of a lifeboat. Lifeboat? I don't know. A thing. That's something nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something to hold on to.
Yeah.
And then.
That's wrong though.
I can be shitty again.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That it was, and she even tell me like, yeah, I'm a little shitty sometimes, but it's like, and then she'll do like one thing good for me.
I don't like that. That feels dirty. It is very manipulative, and I feel like sometimes people like, if they know you can see it, they'll be like sorry, or it's like, but it's like you're not really sorry because if you were, you would just change your action.
Yeah.
I know.
And at that point, they just justify it to themselves. I said it out loud. You know what
Yeah,
you got yourself
exactly.
into.
Yeah, it's like I
suck
finally
a dick.
said it. Yeah.
I'm getting worked up now.
We're all like getting mad.
And
Give me a name.
and she wants another
sounds
guy.
like a trash bag. You should be happy you don't talk to her.
I know, and she invited me to her wedding next week.
No.
I'm like,
Go and make a scene.
why would I go and make a scene? No.
But you should go and get the cake. Wedding cake is delicious.
The wedding cake is delicious.
Oh, it's fucking
Yeah, just
delicious.
use her right now.
Just use cake. I'm not going to El Paso 8 hours to eat one piece of cake.
Hey,
Is there enough?
HEB's right there.
Are you
I
above-
live right
are you
there.
above cake? Is that what you're saying right
I'm a more of a pie guy.
now? Okay. Wedding cake is delicious.
What is she
Wedding
has
cake.
wedding
I
pie.
love tres leches. That's a great freaking cake, but I'm not going for that.
Take your own milk. You can do that.
Here's how much of a kind of a trash bag she is. Like literally, we hadn't talked for like a year. I'm doing stand up and everything. I'm at Coal Town, and I get a text from her. And literally, this text was, and she didn't ask me, "Hey, how you doing? Haven't seen anything. How you been?" Literally, it was just more like, "Hey, do you know how to fill out the college graduate application?" One of my friends is doing it, and we didn't know. We figured we'd ask you. And I'm like, "You haven't
She
talked
didn't
to
even
me."
say hi. I feel like that's it. I feel like they start to be more like, because if you keep taking it, then it just gets worse. You know what I mean? Where
I
it's
hadn't
like,
talked to her in like
what
a
an
year and a half.
asshole.
I know. There were moments in which we were real, but there were moments in which she didn't make me feel better about myself. Like, you know, like we're comics, and I joke around a lot. I remember I did one line that got a little bit, that irritated her, and she's like, "Why do you always have to be joking around? Why do you always have to be like saying things and try to make people laugh?" And I'm just like, I don't know. That's how I cope with pain. That's what I try to be as funny as possible. It's not going to hit every single time, but you know, at least but sometimes it makes me laugh, and that's all I really care about.
Right.
And stuff. And yeah, hanging around with that for about 4 years kind of like really dropped my confidence a lot. And stuff like that. So like even now, I feel like I'm starting to rebuild it and getting everything and just learning to be like, oh yeah, I could be myself. I don't have to try to like conform to
Yeah, that's
anybody.
draining.
And stuff. And just it was a very shitty kind of time in my life, but the reason that it kind of like hit me really hard was because I was trying to get to that middle class type of moment in a way too, which is like I have an accounting degree, I'm fine financially and everything, but like I got rejected from a position in Dallas at PricewaterhouseCoopers that would have paid me like about maybe $65 a year starting out, and live the whole Dallas lifestyle, like 80 hours of work week during like busy season and shit. And just like that's what I'm saying. Like it's a normal, and that just had no interest in me whatsoever. Like I just learned that like when they said no to me, I was just actually thrilled.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I get to go out and just do whatever the fuck I want, not this path that everybody else is going.
Yeah.
And everything.
Did you, because I'm always like, people should be really like forward. Do you still talk to her or no?
I don't talk to her anymore. Literally that was our last conversation, was that text message that she sent to me about a year ago. And then she wanted to know my address to send me a wedding invitation to, and that's it.
I feel like if she texts you again, you should be like, hey, honestly, I think you should tell her why you don't talk to her. Yeah. Just because it's like...
I don't know. It feels like she's probably just going to hit you up every so often.
Yeah, I would be like, hey, don't talk to me. Because you're not...
Just block her.
Yeah.
That's a simple solution
just
as well,
too. Just shut it down. Be like, burp. You're not even going to notice for another year and a half if I block you today. So whatever.
Like, accounting, like, because they're upper middle class... They're just like rich, preppy people, and I'm just like, I'm not used to that lifestyle and everything. I'm used to, like, say, I drove buses too for about a year, and like I'd rather hang out with those types.
That El Paso fajita lifestyle. So the regret was hanging around for 4 years.
Just hanging around and just accepting it and just being like, okay, this is what people in the middle class will think of me, and then I have to kind of like.
No, you let them define your role.
Exactly. I let them define who I am instead of me defining who I am. And it's just like, it kind of made me timid and like just nervous being around like new people. Or like,
I almost feel like this isn't I feel like this is a shitty regret because I feel like you were just manipulated and you were like caught up in a situation that you let it happen, but it was like almost out of your control kind of thing.
It's one.
You know what I mean? Once you got caught up, it was like just a cycle.
Well, I think it starts to become a norm. That's the problem.
That's what I mean.
Which is like, it's just like, oh, this is just, but it can't be. I feel like you have to like figure out like, oh, I don't deserve to be treated that way.
That's where it's at now. But I feel like in the moment, it was like, almost not even, it was your fault, but it was almost like it wasn't your fault.
Fair.
That's how I feel about that.
No, in the situation.
I guess it's both. I mean, I feel like
people get caught up. You get caught up, and it's like, well, she's giving me something.
It's also, I don't like when,
I
get, because I feel like there is a certain, because I've had like relationships like that too, and then there is like a point where it's like, I have to take responsibility and I have to know my worth, and then, but it's also like, that other person, I've thought about it more, I'm like, that's really shitty to do, that's wrong. Like, I hate when I hear about people doing that kind of thing, I'm like, what's wrong with you that you would do that or put them down, or like, I just feel like you should be trying to help other people. Or if you don't want to help them, then just leave them alone, but like, don't.
Yeah, I don't know, I think there's a lot of people that view others as not humans anymore. You're just there to like be an accessory. Yeah.
Stepping stones.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, and maybe it's our culture. Like a lot of like, I
think it is
the Western culture. Yeah, like it's all for me. I gotta figure out my shit, me and my family, and fuck everybody. And it's like,
I don't like that. Why? I don't like that. And I was thinking about how I try to meditate, and then I like teach my class about it, and we'll watch these like little videos before. And then there was one that I really liked that's like, why focus on the happiness of others? And it's about how you can be trying to find your own happiness and never find it because you're always thinking like, usually in the future, the past, like, oh, I'll be happy when I get this thing, or I'll be happy, or I was happy a while ago, instead of just being like in the moment. And then this video was saying like, usually if you help someone else, you're kind of or if you are more empathetic and you're more aware and like pay attention to other people, that forces you to be in the present moment. So then you can be like happy together, and it's like, oh, that makes so much sense to try and like, and it's just, I feel like both people grow. It feels like an improv thing too, where it's like a yes and, where you can like make something that's so much better with other people. But I feel like people here don't know that, or like, I don't know, I just feel like so many people are like not, they just don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
And it's just frustrating.
Do they not, or are they more worried about what the outside world is going to think? Like they're constantly going.
I think there's something above them caring about other people that they're like, I got to do this instead of like caring.
Yeah.
And that's a constant in their life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like instead of doing something and understanding why you're doing it or saying it, you're just looking for the end result. It's like if I check off, we were just talking about this.
Yeah.
If I check off these check boxes, then that group's gonna think I'm great, and I can do that. And it's like, why am I even focused on these check boxes? You know, and most of us don't think about that part.
Some people don't even know, like they're not even, because it might just be a cycle from their family or being like having bad habits that just perpetuate. And some people are so busy and they don't even know their own habits.
That, and I think if you stop and actually go, this is what motivated that shitty thing that I said or did. Now I have to think about how, oh crap, maybe I am kind of a bad person, and how do I fix that? And that's scary. That's scary to
That is
look at
people don't want to
yourself.
deal with it,
That was one of the biggest things about like therapy when I first started therapy. That's just like it got me.
Started therapy?
I forgot about my other therapist, Dr. Andre. I'm sorry, my bad.
Why you didn't come?
All right, my bad. Because you're $100 an hour every single call. I need to...
Play up price.
All right. You know what? Let me step in your office. Hey, Dr. Andre.
What's up? Talk to me.
Nothing much, man. I'm having, usual. Like I'm having trouble with women, man. I'm like going up a conference with them.
Just be nice to them, be friendly.
Okay, just simple advice like that.
That's it.
All right, cool. I'm also feeling kind of depressed. What do you think should work on that?
Cheesecake.
Cheesecake? I think that adds to my problem, though.
Andre, we're not trying to like. No, that's not a good coping mechanism. No, don't listen to him.
Cheesecake
No.
in moderation.
Just a little bit of cheesecake. Hey, can I put the strawberries like on top?
No,
and everything?
Omar.
Not too many strawberries.
Not too many. Yeah, you're right.
He
You know what?
doesn't
You're
even
fine.
have
Moderation.
No.
It's fine.
All right,
He's not a
moderation.
professional.
All right, here's $100. Thank you, doctor.
That
was terrible advice.
Take 80 back. I gotta get the cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory. Of course, it takes a lot of money.
It's just masking the problem.
And scene.
And scene.
Do you guys want to plug like social media stuff if anybody wants to follow you?
At DreRicks87 on Instagram, Facebook. Words with Friends.
He's not lying about that one. He wants people to beat on that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you done?
I want to say hi to my mom.
Okay.
Franklin's Barbecue. Shout out to...
Jesus.
Sorry.
Hold on a second.
Shout out to
Franklin's
Texas.
Barbecue.
Shout out to West Elementary. Big up to the Whirlwind.
Right.
That's it.
So, hold on a second, Andre. So, first of all, you're shouting out Franklin's. Before then, Cracker Barrel. And what is this? And then RCI?
Once again,
REI?
Bluebell Ice Cream. I just shot y'all an email.
Wow, you just know your demographic you're going for.
Subway. I'm gonna eat fresh.
Subway's not bueno.
We'll cut that out of the podcast.
Okay, so
We're trying to get him a promotion, but
Lazy
right?
boy. I'll fuck with you.
Yeah.
you can find me Instagram espionage921, and then Espi Rivadeneira Rivadeneira, and yeah, my Twitter's the same.
Thank you for listening to the All Regerts podcast with Sam Narani and Omar Gonzalez. Remember this, just because you have regrets doesn't mean you cannot live life as if you have no regrets. Have a wonderful day.